T1, $499, designed in the US and built in the US. That's the claim by the Trump family. You have done that. What do you make of their news?
Well, the FTC will probably come knocking pretty soon.
Why do you make that claim?
Oh, because that phone is actually made by Wingtech, so it'll be a Chinese-produced phone, and that's going to become a challenge. It also takes many years to actually build up the entire supply chain to manufacture in the U.S. As a matter of fact, our claims are made in USA electronics because we still source some materials like our metal chassis from China. But all of our electronics are manufactured at our facility. That took me over a decade to get to that point.
Todd, I'm interested. How do you know it's made by Wingtech?
Well, the specs match. And so, we're going off of some speculation, right, to determine when your specs match, then you can understand the supply chain. We also know Wingtech, what they produce. It's also sold by T-Mobile currently. It's called the Revel 7. And so there might be some modifications, but that still doesn't cross the threshold for U.S. assembly, let alone actually the much higher burden to cross with the FTC that is made in USA.
Let's talk about the made in USA that you have. We understand you've made, tens of thousands of phones? You're generally selling these made in America pieces of equipment to who exactly?
So our audience actually is quite broad. So we sell to parents who want their children to be protected because we don't just do made in USA phones. We actually write the entire operating system that goes with it. So you can see from that we sell to the tech industry, security industry. We do about 50% of our sales to consumer and about 50% to the government.
The Liberty handset is $2,000. I'm assuming that that is reflective of the challenge of sourcing core components and assembly in the United States, a higher cost of doing business.
That's not correct. So let me level set a few things. We'd actually produced our Librem 5 phone where we did contract manufacturing in China. Our cost of goods sold was about $600 to produce that phone. Then we actually reshored that, brought everything back because it's our designs, and then we did the manufacturing of all the electronics at our facility. Cost of goods sold is about $650, so it's about a 10% lift to manufacture in the U.S. A couple of other really important points. Even Tim Cook, the non-innovative operations expert, will say that in China, they can throw bodies at the problem, right? So they'll have rows and rows and rows of folks lined up to do pinch to zoom, as an example, right? In the US, we don't have bodies to throw at it, so we throw engineering and innovation at that problem. So what we do is we actually hack the firmware to actually do pinch to zoom to do the testing. So we don't have to have rows and rows of people. We throw engineering at the problem. So what that means is that machine versus machine, same price to do it in the US. The labor afterwards takes about 30 minutes per phone. In the US, we might pay $20 per hour for that skilled labor. In China, it's about $10 per hour because it's actually not a place to go if you're looking for inexpensive labor. So in the end, minus the QA, we end up to about a 10% difference in cost. When you're getting to the price point, our Chinese-produced phone, the Librem 5, we sell for about $799. That's low margin. That's our lower margin product. The US-made version, we have higher margin because we're the only US-made electronics phone. And then we also sell to the government, so we can actually target that security market. So when you're looking at secure supply chain, right, that adds overhead on top of COGS. So if you're looking at only price, then we could actually offer that phone for probably $1,200.
It's just a savvy business decision, basically.
Sure, right, yeah, right.
The analogy that Tim Cook used in 2017 was that you could fill a football stadium in China with tooling engineers, and you couldn't fill a meeting room in America with the same or equivalent skill sets.
That's correct. That's basically the mirror of what I just described, is that they throw bodies at the problem in the U.S.
But the question is, under this administration, whether it is or will change. When we opened the discussion about the president's ambitions to have more US assembled smartphones and manufactured smartphones. Do you recognize any progress on that?
So overall, it's going to be incremental, right? So we've got to increment our way to getting to that point of mass producing phones in the US through robotics and engineering. This sort of gets to the earlier topic of tariffs, right? Tariffs are a fantastic incentive if you're not sitting in a whipsaw of it changing every week. Imagine a tariff policy that was 25% growth every year for 10 years. Right, then even Apple would look at it and saying, oh, wow, we should probably really consider doing U.S. manufacturing for their electronics.
How did you craft your team, Todd? How have you been able to build the supply chain, of course, only making tens of thousands rather than millions of products?
Well, a key piece is actually finding the skilled labor. So we actually are in just north of San Diego in Carlsbad, California. And doing that allows us to have a quality SMT line that's right next door to where we do our assembly and finished manufacturing process. So finding a location where you have skilled labor, which exists in certain pockets of the U.S. today.
Let's just go back to Todd Weaver. Did you ever get a call from the Trump organization to help them on this?
So we have a process of, let's say, more hearsay. So we have a white label group that has been in direct communication with Trump family about potentially white labeling or contracting to actually do true U.S. manufacturing of the electronics.
Would you say yes? And how many could you manufacture for them?
So usually it's the rule of thumb. Number of square footage allows you to do that many units per month. Our facility is relatively small. We have about 10,000 square foot facility. So that's a single line. We could, of course, vertically scale up to about 30,000 per month in the same exact facility, and then horizontally scale. If you're looking at 100,000 per month, that'd probably be a 6-month lead time if it's contracted through us because we already have the entire process in place.